what is in the Syrinscape Sci-Fi player for the Starfinder role-playing game, and how do you set it up just right so that you can run it excellently and fantastically and immersively in your games? Well, I'm going to show you some of those things. There's actually lots and lots of content already available. There is, for instance, an abandoned space station in the Sci-Fi player, which is perfect for any abandoned space stations you might go and land on. You can hear it now. There is this glorious, spooky environment with off-putting music and the sounds of sparking things. Now, that's inspired me. I would like to have an encounter with, let's say, goblins who have raided the space station and are looting it for materials. They've found some particular weapons which are listed in the Starfinder Core rulebook, and I want those goblins to shoot them at the players. That sounds super, super fun. So where do I find all those sounds? I know that the abandoned space station is there. I know there's some epic combat music in the Starfinder starships, which is really, really great. I can find the handheld weapons listed in here, but goblins, I don't think there are goblins yet in the Sci-Fi player. If I type in goblin, there's nothing there that actually contains the goblins I want, because I do know that there are fantastic goblins in the fantasy player, in the goblin battle, and they smash things. That's going to have everything I want. So how do I get the sounds in the fantasy player to play in the Sci-Fi player? Well, I could trigger them separately as two different players, but that's a real pain. What you are going to want is my campaigns. So I'm going to make a campaign which will show certain sound sets in the Sci-Fi player. I want it to show in the Sci-Fi player, so I go to the Sci-Fi section and I create the campaign there. I'm going to call it Space Gobs. Excellent. Add that. There it is, Space Gobs. I'm going to want to add the abandoned space station to that. I'm going to want to add a starship to that so I can get the starship music easy and keep it to hand. Plus, the players might arrive on the starship, maybe. I'm going to want the handheld weapons because there's some really super, super cool weapons in there. And I'm going to want the goblins. Now, that doesn't show it because there's not a Sci-Fi sound set. So I'm going to go over to fantasy, not because that will show only the campaigns that are showing in the fantasy player. I want to show the campaigns that show in any of the players, and the Sci-Fi one that I just made is one of those. So I go to the Alt tab, bring up the Space Gobs. There it is, excellent, and search for goblins here, showing all of the sound sets that I have access to. Goblin Battle. Add that. Click the button properly. Fantastic. There's those 4 sound sets. I can actually reorder them. Let's put that right down the bottom because I don't really need it to be available. Excellent. Go back to the Sci-Fi player. Let me make my screen a little bigger so you can see this really, really clearly. Boom. There we go. Good. So there's the abandoned space station. I want to go to the Space Gobs playlist. It doesn't have that last change. Syrinscape checks periodically on the server to see any changes in what content you own and what campaigns you've set up. If you need to trigger that reload manually, just go to the settings and hit the reload button, and there it is, my latest setup version of that campaign. Great. So, scene 1 is going to be just the sound of the eerie silence in the space station, so that's fine. That's sounding really, really great. There's the goblins. I might get that installing while I chat to you. It's never been in the Sci-Fi player before, so now the data is installing. Then I'm going to want, say, to turn off the music cues to set up my battle. I don't want the music of a spooky, slow music. I'm going to want to keep the ambience of the station going. There's probably some... Let's do that. That's kind of pretty cool. Good. Now I'm going to want to turn on some goblins. As if they're smashing up stuff in the distance. I like that. Excellent. So, that will be... What is that? So the players will hear that in the distance. Then, for the battle, I'm going to want to turn up the sounds of the goblins to maximum. Add in the goblin commanders. No goblin dogs in space. Don't be ridiculous. Yes, they are. Excellent. That sounds good. Awesome. Go and add some of the epic space music from the Starship sound set. If you want a particular song, you can actually trigger a particular song that you want, rather than just the random 5 tunes. So obviously that will trigger 5 tunes in a row. I like that. And then what did we say? My goblins have raided the plasma locker, and they all have little plasma guns. Excellent. And they also have found a long sonic weapon, which they are firing. Do you like the sound of that? A bit too much music? Just turn the music down a tiny bit. Turn the weapons down a bit, just so we can hear the sound of the goblins themselves. You can balance everything however you like, actually. Awesome. Once you've got it sounding just right, go back to the space station and go goblins attack. Good. So the beginning of the scene is my eerie silence with music. And then the players notice something is up. And then goblins attack. You might like trigger an explosion or something, or a Wilhelm scream when the battle starts. But apart from that, you just can let it run in the background. Excellent! And that's how you use campaign managers and custom moods to set up the Syrinscape Sci-Fi player to play just the perfect amounts of scenes and sci-fi-ness for your Starfinder role-playing game. There's lots and lots of stuff in the Sci-Fi player. There's cyberpunk discos and you know, cantinas and mucousy planets and swamps and frosty places and everything. And once you grab those contents, search for them, have a bit of an explore, and then mix and match and combine, then you're going to be set up for your Starfinder game. In the meantime, I'm going to shoot you. Listen to the heavy sonic weapons. Oh, I love it! I love it! You can trigger them here as well, by the way. Sweet. Where's my heavy shock weapon? Love it! Love it! Machine gun. Heavy cryo. Oh, so cool.